Hare Krishna. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane. Off with the lights. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Nirvisesha Sunyavari Paskichadi Satarani. So today is the appearance or disappearance of Syamananda Pandita. I don't know which one it is. Yeah, if you don't mind. Now, hang on a sec here. We should have remember, it is not just wishful thinking or poetic imagination or exaggeration, but we actually come in a historical line of great saintly personalities. And these personalities are not bound by time and space. Srila Prabhupada often mentions, he says that he was after that big Christmas marathon. We could turn this down just a touch. Not off, just a touch. Thanks, Prabhu. Oh, you can give that to Dravida, Prabhu. My saintly god brother. Thank you. Now I feel much better. You said so to you? Acha. So, after that big marathon, thank you, Prabhu. Srila Prabhupada said that my spiritual master, Prabhupada speaking of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, said he is pouring down his mercy on you. Prabhupada said the grandfather is even more merciful than the father. So these great personalities, they can pour their mercy down on us. When Mother Ganga was called down by Bhagirath Maharaj to save the ashes of his ancestors, who were burned to ashes. Who? By Parshuram? Who burned them to ashes? Huh? Huh? Kapila burnt them to ashes? I'm not so sure about that. But anyway, the concern of Mother Ganga was who's going to catch me. As I'm coming down, I don't want to go all the way down to the hellish planets. So the mercy is flowing down, but are we ready to catch it? That's the thing. So we can pray on these days that let me get your mercy, let me become qualified, let me get a drop of your mercy, let me catch your mood. So these are historical personalities. Their mercy is flowing. It's a real thing. And we simply have to learn to tune into that frequency and to catch that mercy. So today is the appearance or disappearance. Disappearance. I've heard that the disappearance day is more auspicious than the appearance day, but I'm not so sure about that, because at the disappearance day they say that they've performed all of their pastimes, but I'm not so sure about that. But here there's a painting here. This is Syamananda Pandita. And this is a murti at his birthplace. He appeared in Orissa. Utkal it used to be called, but he appeared in Orissa. And these are his shoes. They still have him. Just like there's also, where is it they have Mahaprabhu's shoes? I forget what that is. They have his water pot, they have his shoes. Huh? It's in the Gambhira? That would make sense. Okay, so we can go to the next. And did I bring my glasses? Let's hope so. Hold on a second. So Shyamananda, he was originally named Dukhi Krishna Das. And the reason he was named Dukhi Krishna Das was that his parents, saintly Vaishnavas, had lost their first children, several children. And so when he took birth and survived, they were so grateful they named him Dukhi Krishna Das, one who relieves one's suffering by Krishna's mercy. And he mastered all of his studies, scholarship, burned through his Sanskrit school in just a few years. The Pandits, and they were all amazed at the erudition of this young boy. And even at a young age, it doesn't say, he announced to his father said, "You should take Harinam initiation someday." And the boy responded, Syamananda replied, Dukhi Krishna Das responded, "I'm going to take initiation from Hridaya Chaitanya. And I'm going to take initiation from him very soon." His father said, "How will you go there?" It's a whole story. He joined up with some pilgrims as a young boy, found Hridaya Chaitanya, and he took a first initiation. Then let's see what's going on here. Okay, here we go. He appeared 1 year after Mahaprabhu had disappeared. After initiation his name was Dukhi Krishna Das, Hridaya Chaitanya initiated him as Krishna Das. So then he became named Krishna Das. He then set out for Vrindavan. His spiritual master, Hridaya Chaitanya, told him that he should go to Vrindavan and study with Jiva Goswami. So he went to Vrindavan, and there his classmates, his Vaishnav friends were Srinivasacharya and Narottam Das Thakur. So they became fast friends for life and studied under Jiva Goswami. So here he is arriving in Vrindavan. First thing he's doing, he's surrendering to Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, who were the heads of the Goswami. So this is a picture of him surrendering to Rupa and Sanatana. Next. This is a picture of him meeting Jiva Goswami. And you can see Srinivas, well, sort of you can see, but you got the idea. So he was given the service by Jiva Goswami to sweep Seva Kunj every day, to clean the Kunj. Now, Seva Kunj is where Radha and Krishna eternally dance. Those great saintly persons, just like Prabhupada told us at Ramanreti in Vrindavan, where our Krishna Balaram temple is. Ramanreti means very pleasing sand. It's very nice white sand. And Prabhupada said that every afternoon at 6 o'clock, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon at Ramanreti, Krishna and the Balaram and the cowherd boys come through there on their way back from Govardhan Hill to Nandagram. Now, how do you put that in a direct line? Because Vrindavan is like a lotus flower, the petals open. So it's not directional, three-dimensional. It can expand, it can close, it can do all kinds of things, because Vrindavan is shaped like a lotus flower in the spiritual world. So, in the same way, Radha and Krishna dance in Seva Kunj. And he was given this service by Jiva Goswami to sweep. So he would sweep every day. And his service was so nice, so pure-hearted, so humble, that it attracted the mercy of Srimati Radharani. So she wanted to give him some special mercy. How did that manifest? One day he was sweeping, and he found a beautiful bracelet, ankle bracelet, gold, studded with jewels, not something of this world. Shortly thereafter, I don't know whether it was the next day or a day or two or whatever, he was approached by a beautiful village girl. And she said, "My mistress, she was dancing here and she lost her bracelet. Did you find it?" So he said, "Yes, I did. But sensing that this was not an ordinary event, and being very spiritually clever, he said, but I have a duty to only give it back to the original owner. I can't just give it to you. How do I know, you're not, whatever, some ruse. So I need to see the original owner. So that gopi who came to get it was Lalita, Lalita and Vishaka. So I don't know how long, some time passed, and those two village girls appeared, two village girls this time, who then manifest themselves. Their disguise was dismissed, and they revealed themselves as Lalita and Vishaka. And they blindfolded him and took him to a special section of Sevakunj. And there, even though before the blindfold was off, he could sense the effulgence and the Shakti of the place. And they took off his blindfold, and there was Srimati Radharani. So there's several ways that this next part of the pastime is told. But he asked if he could put the ankle bracelet on himself, and Srimati Radharani agreed. Now it said two things. It said that he touched it to his forehead out of respect before he put it onto her feet. Or he put it onto her ankle and then bowed down and touched her. And when his forehead came in contact, as special mercy from Radharani, a special tilak was branded on his head. All the followers of the Hare Krishna, of the Syamananda Pandit's line, they wear this special tilak. It has like a pearl here, and it has a dot in the middle. I don't know what the meanings are. I'll have to ask Indradumna Maharaj, because he knows all these things, so I'll ask him. So there's Shyamananda meeting Jiva Goswami. Next. Now here he is finding Srimati Radharani's bracelet, ankle bracelet in Sevakunj. Next. Here he is. But in order for him to see Srimati Radharani directly, Lalita and Vishaka manifest Radhakund. And when he dipped into Radhakund, he was transformed into a Saki. Just like Narada Muni, when he wanted to see the Ras Leela, but males can't enter. So he took a dip in, Kusum Sarovara, and was transformed into a gopi. So similarly, here you see, where is my laser pointed? Here you see, at this point he was still Krishnadas, transformed into a gopi and attaching the bracelet to Srimati Radharani's blissful ankle. Next. So there she is, giving him a special tilak mark. When he came up, he had a special tilak mark. And then he dipped into the Nawasaki, dipped into the Radhakund, which mystically manifests in Sevakunj, and was transformed back into Krishnadas. Next. Now, I don't have a picture of this, but when he came back to Jiva Goswami and explained what had happened, Jiva Goswami then gave him the name Shyamananda. He was the one who gives pleasure to Shyam, which is a name for Srimati Radharani. So he became from Dukhi Krishnadas by his parents, then he became Krishnadas by his spiritual master Hridaya Chaitanya. And then when he got the special mercy of Radharani by returning her bracelet, which of course she left for him, so there's a little circular pastime there, he was given the name Shyamananda. Now the word got back to Hridaya Chaitanya, his spiritual master, that he changed his name and was wearing a different type of tilak. Like, of course, this is the extreme Kali Yuga example. It was that, I'll say it, Nitai, the Sanskrit scholar, who got involved with some of the Radhakund Babajis, who said they can introduce him into higher ras, Madhurya Leela, and they'll reveal his Siddha Swarup to him. Later on, he was busted by R. Giriraj Maharaj when he was the president of the Juhu temple, and nobody's fool. And Prabhupada told him, you have to keep it, keep an eye on things and keep the, ISKCON standard. And this, it's a long story, didn't come out of his room for a number of days. Finally, Giriraj Maharaj got the key, found him in his kopans, meow, meow, thinking because he had the Radhakund Babaji's had told him, Hare Krishna, had told him he was a peacock in Krishna Lila. So, people get completely messed up with this stuff. So his spiritual master was concerned. He has a new name. He has a new, your spiritual master, just like Hridaya Chaitanya, had instructed him to learn from Jiva Goswami. So having a Siksha Guru approved by your Diksha Guru, that's fine. That's natural. But to think, I'm going to find higher. Nitai's the one who said he asked Prabhupada's benediction to find a higher level spiritual master. So just imagine. So Hridaya Chaitanya was, his spiritual master, was worried about him. So he was going to go to Vrindavan and save his disciple from this illusion. Srimati Radharani appeared to him in a dream, said, no, everything's fine. I gave him this blessing. So the Prabhupada says if the son becomes more famous than the father becomes very pleased, a good father. So when this disciple becomes more advanced than the spiritual master becomes very, very pleased. So Hridaya Chaitanya came, embraced his disciple, now Syamananda, and it all has a happy, auspicious ending. So this is his samadhi, which is in Orissa. He also has a Pushpa samadhi in Vrindavan. And thank you. And this is the Radha Shama Sundar temple. You've got the place where he used to do his meditation. He was sent by Jiva Goswami. Syamananda was sent with the Goswamis, just like we have our GBC. Frankly, it's the same principle. The Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, Krishnadas Kaviraj, Jiva Goswami, the different Mahants, they all gathered together, and under Jiva Goswami's directions, the copies of the Goswami's books were made. There was no printing presses, no Gutenberg press in those days, so they were all hand copied. So they got all of the Goswami's literature copied, and then what did they do? The first Sankirtan party, first book distribution, they sent them back to Bengal to educate the followers of Mahaprabhu, to share with them the Rupan Sanatan Goswami, Jiva Goswami, their books. So he was on that party. Srinivasacharya, Shyamananda Prabhu, and Narottam Das, his friends from his ashram days with, his training with Jiva Goswami. So then later on, he was preaching in Orissa. He and his disciple, Rasikananda, were powerful preachers all over Orissa. And Orissa is like Bengal, even more so. Mahaprabhu was known all over Orissa, and it's due to Shyamananda and Rasikananda. So this is the temple of his deity, Radha Shama Sundar. Next. And we'll end here with a beautiful picture of Radha Shama Sundar. And she's Tapta Kanchana Gauranga, this beautiful golden color, and he's big size. So that's Shri Shri Radha Shama Sundar. So there we go. That's a little taste about the pastimes of Syamananda Pandit. Okay, next. Next, we're going to switch, hopefully, thank you for doing this, we're going to switch to Africa.